We have now survived week number 5 of our 12-week no shopping challenge.
We are all alive and well.
Whoop-de-doo!
This week we worked hard to earn the foods that we love.
We got Subway,
Main Street Pizza,
and Chinese food. Check out how we scored these delicious foods.
You're probably wondering why, since we are not going out for fast food, that our 3 children are sitting there eating Subway sandwiches. We'll go over that in our report for week 5 of our 90-day challenge.
Will work for food has taken on a whole new meaning for our kids. They have been missing fast food and all the deliciousness that comes with our usual lifestyle. And this week they figured out a way to get around the rules legally. We have a friend who needed hay hauled, and they volunteered. They didn't get paid for it, but as a thank you gesture, our friends bought them Subway and pizza, and then the next night they had Chinese food. These were some very happy, dirty kids. If you notice in the text on the right-hand side of the screen, the first day they hauled 9,000 pounds of hay and a total of 20,000 pounds of hay between the 2 days. They worked hard for some fast food.
This is one of the breakfasts that we made with potatoes that came out of our garden, the eggs from our chickens,
And onions.
and onions, don't forget the onions, and then my favorite jalapenos on top.
One of the things that I have been working on is perfecting the art of making bread using natural yeast or sourdough. Up in the upper right-hand corner, that is just a picture of the sourdough start. I think wheat is a great thing to store in your long-term storage because it allows you to make delicious bread. All you need is wheat, water, and salt. And by using the sourdough or the natural yeast process, you can make fantastic bread. I made these loaves for Sunday dinner with the family, and they were a huge hit. I used a little bit of cheese and some sesame seeds to help improve the flavor in these loaves.
And believe me, they taste as good as they look.
We also took a big pot of sweet beans to our family Sunday dinner. This is Jonathan's favorite. It's easy to make and all shelf-stable ingredients except for what we got out of our garden. Fried rice at our house is actually a favorite breakfast food, if you can believe it. I found a lone bag of frozen vegetables in the bottom of our freezer and used that to be able to whip up this batch of fried rice, and it was delicious. I tried a new recipe this week. It's a copycat of El Pollo Loco's barbecued black beans. They were delicious. I did have to make a few modifications because I didn't have all of the ingredients that this recipe called for, but I was amazed how wonderful these turned out with just the things that we had in our storage and in our garden. And another night we tried these ranch beans. And it's so much fun. These are ancho peppers that we had in our garden, and that's garlic and some oregano. And we also had a fresh onion. And all those spices together with beans are just wonderful. I'm making a lot of bread these days, so I'm trying to mix it up so we can add a little bit of variety. I had some leftover oatmeal from breakfast the previous day in the refrigerator, and so I decided to go ahead and put it in this batch of bread along with cinnamon and sugar and make it into a delicious breakfast bread. It was really good. We are learning to take advantage of the foods that we have and to try to eliminate waste. So even that little bit of leftover oatmeal, we didn't want it to go to waste. And sometimes warmed up oatmeal just is never as good as the first day.
And then there were the pickles. We made this beautiful batch of pickles, and Mama can tell you more about how that happens, but you can see Ben there picking the cucumbers to go in there, and I'll let her tell you the rest.
It's the fermentation process, which is so exciting that you can put the vegetables in a jar with some brine, and the brine is just made of salt and water. The fermentation process sours the pickles And these were absolutely delicious when we were eating them a week or so later. One of the tricks to keep these crisp is to use grape leaves in the bottle.
And they did turn out extremely, extremely good.
It's so refreshing to be able to create something like this. The garlic and the dill and the grape leaves and the cucumbers, everything was from our garden with the exception of the salt. We harvested a bunch of plums this week, and I decided I was going to try something a little bit new. So I made some Chinese plum sauce with it. It's back to school, and there is a tradition in our little church group that the young women leaders kidnap the girls the day before school starts. So they kidnap them at 6 o'clock in the morning in their pajamas, and they take them and they all have this giant breakfast together. When our girls came home, they had scored some yogurt and bananas that were left over from the breakfast.
Here are a couple of our friends who perhaps thought we were going hungry. They brought over some onions from their garden. They grow the onions, but they're not big onion eaters.
I am still amazed at the generosity of our friends and how concerned so many people are that we are going to starve to death in this process. Community is everything. And unlike our friends, we are huge onion eaters.
As we said, it was back to school for these kids, and they express tremendous thanks and appreciation to those of you who felt like they should have the opportunity to eat school lunch.
They were so cute. When they'd see your comments, it's, oh, they're my favorite person. Living through this 90-day no shopping challenge has had a significant impact on my choice of topics to write about in our blog, theprovidentprepper.org. Last week, I wrote about a whole bunch of different substitutions, but this week, I decided to focus on substitutions specifically for eggs. I found 25 shelf-stable substitutions for eggs because although I have a supply of fresh eggs, the ability to bake and create delicious food out of your survival food supply is really important, and eggs are one of those things that there's a good chance you might not have. I created a cool PDF summary of all 25 of these shelf-stable egg substitutes. I'm hoping that you will take this opportunity to print it out and just tuck it in with your cookbooks. That way you can bake delicious treats for your family in a crisis situation, even when you don't have fresh eggs available. Check it out.
Thanks for following us on this journey.
I think it's a painful journey, but he won't say that because he's tough.
I am tough. We also want to encourage you to look at some of these other resources. Kylene already mentioned the Prepper Pantry 25 shelf-stable egg substitutions for baking. Also, take a look at shelf life of vitamin supplements in a survival food supply. And also our 90-day challenge, survive solely on food storage and garden.
Thank you for convincing our parents to allow us to eat school lunch. We're almost halfway through this challenge.
And now for the question of the day. We are eating a lot of beans. What's your favorite bean recipe? Our mom needs more teen-friendly ideas for cooking with beans.
And thanks for being part of the solution. Ho!